Yeah, we're gonna start with Rev, and yeah, where he's talking about that I guess game companies are blaming quote unquote right-wing gamers for current industry collapses. This should be funny. I have a feeling there's going to be boatloads of cope. Yeah, and I heard about that too, Revan. That basically she did the Ghost of Yotei thing as the lead actress. She basically opened her fucking mouth. Although we saw that, we did see that she opened her fucking mouth in an interview. Oh, Wicked, thank you for the follow. Okay, Falcon. All right, so let's see how the gaming industry is just exhibiting epic levels of cope with this one.
Hey, what's up, guys? Rip here. Merry Christmas, everyone. I hope you enjoy the hat. I'm feeling very festive today. And to celebrate this beautiful day, we're going to do what we do best, and that is dunk on journalists.
And by the way, I'm pausing right away, but I want to address something someone just said. Bobby, it's not saying that women should keep their mouth closed. It's when you are the talent in a game and you get interviewed about that game and you're going to espouse DEI bridge bullshit when all you should be saying is, I had a fun time making this, do the voice acting for this game. We hope that people really like the game and that we think it's fun and we hope you enjoy it. Yes, they need to keep their mouths shut, and it's not just women. The talent in these games and these movies that they are wanting people to spend money on need to keep their traps fucking shut. That would go a long way to helping them if the talent would shut the fuck up.
The article we're looking at today might be the worst one of 2024, and that is really saying something. This is a hit piece by The Wired that is essentially blaming gamers for the failures of the industry in the year 2024.
Of course they are.
So here's the headline. 2024 was the year the bottom fell out of the games industry. From layoffs to the return of Gamergate, video games and the people who made
Gamergate didn't come back. People tried to evoke Gamergate as a scapegoat for why their games are fucking failing. There was no Gamergate 2. It never existed. This was a bunch of devs coping like fucking crazy and using it as an excuse why their dogshit games failed miserably. Just want to point that out.
Make them and play them had a rough year. Now, yeah, that seems to make a lot of sense, right? When there's games out there costing studios hundreds of millions of dollars, there's going to be layoffs as a result. And on top of that, it seems very clear from a lot of different perspectives that a lot of studios and the people who work at them were more interested in political activism than they were creating good and enjoyable games. And guess what? There's consequences as a result of that. Gamers...
Look, Shadows! Fucking Elite Dangerous is doing incredible. Elite Dangerous is is as popular as ever right now. Oh, Hybel, I know I'm gonna get angry. My body is ready to be angry. Just remember what I asked you to let me know about if something happens while I'm getting angry and raging.
Spoke with their wallets, and that's why we're seeing a lot of studios really struggling. Now let's get into the article here. So it says, for the people who make video games, 2024 was a year of holding on for dear life. At the annual Game Developers Conference in March, Survive Till 25 was this year's incantation summoned to keep morale on pace. That is a very bad look. When at the Game Developers Conference, you have a incantation, as they say, that is Survive Till 25. That's in...
That's not an incantation. That's a fucking prayer. At the annual Game Developers Conference, they were basically praying that their studios would survive until 2025. If you are at the stage where you are praying that you will survive until the next year, which is probably only Okay, so this was in March. So if you are at the stage where you're praying that you make it, because that's what this is, they were praying that they'd make it through another year, you're fucked. Flat out. If you are at the stage of praying you survive, you're already done. As the saying goes, you're already dead, you just don't know it yet.
March, by the way. So for the entirety of 2024, they basically booked it, right? They're just saying, we got to survive till next year. Well, when you're trying to create art under the mindset of just survive, keep collecting a paycheck and just survive till next year, is it really a wonder that there were so many bad games this year? And also, did surviving till 25 include a bunch of people in the industry constantly attacking and disparaging gamers? I guess so.
Yes,
But to continue
it
on,
did.
others resorted to full-on screams as layoffs in the industry charted record highs and developers found themselves under attack for conspiratorial nonsense.
Conspiratorial nonsense. Is it really a conspiracy when the game devs are literally putting their agenda on blast through avenues like Twitter and interviews? I'm sorry, that's not conspiratorial. It's fact. It's coming from the horse's goddamn mouth. There's no conspiracy here. Like, yeah. Oh, no, no. Maybe, I don't know. He could be. Maybe this writer is actually making fun of him, and I could be reading way too into it too fast. Well, it says developers found themselves under attack online for conspiratorial nonsense. So, I don't know. It's just, let me put it this way. There's no fucking conspiracy here, except on the part of the devs injecting DEI. That's where the conspiracy is. It's not the gamers calling people out on the shit.
So in case you forgot what they mean by this whole full-on screams, this was a bunch of game devs at that conference we just mentioned having a scream, screaming out their inner pain and anxieties about the current state of the gaming industry and all of the hardship they face, largely because of gamers. That's really the way they think. So let's listen to this again. Full-grown adults, ladies and gentlemen. Open up the asylums.
No, not open up the asylums. Open up the fucking daycares. These people belong in goddamn adult daycare. You are fucking adults. You got called out on your bullshit. Don't go screaming and reading and crying like a bunch of fucking toddlers. Take your lumps, realize we made a shit game. Let's learn from it and correct ourselves. It's like, this is what happens when pop psychology infects corporations. This is all pop psychology bullshit of a bunch of people standing out there screaming. This is the bullshit pop psychology that is effectively neutering society. No, Zeb, it's not protesting. It's basically just a bunch of game devs, like, screaming out their frustrations because they suck ass at their jobs. That's basically what this is. A bunch of grown-ass adults who can't take criticism and are doing a collective reading. That's it.
Yeah, you get the point. I won't subject you to any more of that. So they literally let out a giant scream to express their anger.
Cheer 100 for comparison. I'm backing a lewd game on Patreon, developed by one single person. It has no political nonsense, and I love it. New demo goes public in January, by the way.
Okay, Leo, do not, and I'm being serious, this is not a double entendre or anything. Do not put the name of that game in my chat. If you want to put it in the Discord, that's fine. No, do not put the name of that fucking game in my chat, please. You can post, you can talk about it in the Discord. That's fine. Don't put it in my chat, okay?
Anger against Gamergate and also all the layoffs in the industry currently. It was a very embarrassing moment. But let's continue on with the article here. So, in 2023, more than 10,000 developers lost their jobs. 1/3 of game makers surveyed at the beginning of this year reported that they'd been affected by layoffs in some way. While there
Sucks
were
to be you.
wins for labor organizers as big studios like Activision Blizzard and collective action around fighting for protection from encroachment of AI on employment, the industry's collective brain drain continued in
And by the way, well, AI is is in use in the industry now. I don't think the AI is as much of an encroachment on the jobs of people as media has allowed it to be. Now, I could be wrong, but I feel fairly confident that for people like in the film and the game development industries, the use of AI is not really taking people's jobs away. Yeah, it's being used as a tool for like mass production type stuff because AI is really good at doing some of this mass production stuff in gaming where like textures or maps or things like that. I don't think it's actually no, poaching jobs away from a lot of the devs. So blaming AI on this is a false equivalency. Yeah, and Zep, that's the key word there. Occasional instances. It's there AI is nowhere even close to being at the level where it can actually full on replace people writ large. It's not that good. It's getting there, but it's certainly going to take a while. So the using the excuse of AI is taking our jobs is an excuse. It absolutely is an excuse. Now, maybe some of these companies are actually saying we're using AI for your job, and that's the excuse the company's giving, or maybe the employees that are getting kicked out are saying, "Oh, AI took my job," just so they can cope with it. Who knows? But it is not, encroaching on jobs as badly as people make it out to be. At least not yet. Will there come a time where AI has advanced to the degree that it will start actually pulling people, taking people's jobs? Yeah. I do think in the future it certainly will. But yeah, it's going to, Revan, like you said, it might take another decade to reach that point. We are not there yet.
2024 as workers lost jobs in mass. 6 months in, this year's layoff tally has already surpassed that of 2023. According to Matthew Ball, an advisor and producer in the video game and TV space, 2024's job loss count will wind up being about 40% higher than the previous years. Well, that's not too surprising when you think about it, right? Because there have been so many massive failures. We've seen some record failures this year. Normally you see a couple AAA flops. We've seen a dozen or so major AAA flops this year that cost studios.
I'd say the majority. I haven't kept track of all of the AAA launches this year, but I would say the majority of AAA launches in 2024 flopped. They, you probably, I'd say perhaps 1/4 of all of the game launches that came from a AAA studio in 2024 a quarter of them might have been successful.
The gaming industry is going up in flames, and companies are blaming the players. Scapegoat maxing much? I won't deny some player bases kill their games, but that's pretty uncommon. The reality is that these PPL are money-hungry greedy asshats making half-assed games.
Yes!
And when these half-assed games do horribly, they refuse to take accountability and blame the gamers for having poor taste, or some other BS. I hate to generalize, but at this point it's so commonplace it's hard not to. Cheer 100.
Yeah, Gremlin, that's what we have been saying in all of these reacts to it. Is instead of taking accountability for their actions, they are just making excuses and blaming their very customer base, which is colossally stupid on a level that is just mind-boggling. You're actually going to blame the people you want to give you money for being shitters and saying, you people need to do better. Now give us money. Like, what fucking brain trust came up with this kind of logic? It makes no goddamn sense, and it should surprise absolutely fucking no one that they're failing hard.
Hundreds upon hundreds of millions of dollars. Of course, there's going to be consequences. People are going to be laid off. Why are people in the industry so surprised that costing investors, studios, hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars has a consequence? They have to.
Blurred Alex, thank you for the follow. And yes, scams are in their own category, but the scams usually don't come from the AAA studios. That's bearing in mind, I said AAA studio launches. Day before was a small scam group. So I wasn't categorizing them in the AAA studio failure category.
Do something to trim the fat and try to get their money back, which is, the first step is laying people off, of course. But to continue on, the explanation is complex and wide-ranging for the same reason the layoffs are so deep and continuous and sit alongside many studio closures and even more canceled games, Ball says. So yeah, when they say this, as we'll see in this article, they really just mean it's the gamer's fault, right?
The explanation is not complex and wide-ranging. You made a dogshit game, you lost hundreds of millions of dollars, you can't afford to keep people on staff anymore because of your own fucking stupidity. Last I looked, that's not complex and wide-ranging. That's pretty goddamn basic.
Gamers didn't support us. The gamers are a bunch of bigoted, anti-woke chuds, and they did this to us. So let's continue on. As the industry faltered, games suffered. High-profile releases like Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League were commercial failures. Well, at least they admit it. While there are many reasons for this, online right-wing groups reduced it to a single mantra: go woke, go broke.
For fuck's sake. Okay. The quote-unquote online right-wing groups were a fraction of the people that were criticizing the gaming industry. Going like go blank was probably used a little bit more extensively than just these right-wing groups. But no, the mantra from gamers writ large was not go woke, go broke. The mantra was, give us a good fucking game, please. Give us a game that's actually fun, please. And what happened with those game devs that actually provided a good game and a fun game? What happened, chat? Oh yeah, that's right. They fucking exploded in popularity and made huge fucking bank. Black Myth Wukong being the example. Yeah, so, okay, guys, talk about this next one.
By their logic, if a game does poorly and has even a whiff of diversity, be it regarding gender, sexuality, or race.
Yeah, Visrock, that also correct. Launch a fucking game that is complete at launch and is not an amalgamation of we'll fix it in post.
To a single mantra: go woke, go broke. By their logic, if a game does poorly and has even a whiff of diversity, be it regarding gender, sexuality, or race, that disappointing performance is the fault of DEI.
No, of course not,
Falcon.
A
lot of projection and false claims right there. But beginning with the commercial failure of Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, here's the article they linked. It's from Bloomberg. And apparently this is just another reason to not check out games journalists, because apparently you have to pay just to view this article, where the headline pretty much explains everything. They lost $200 million. on this game. That's it. And I have to pay you.
Okay. I'm gonna do a gimme here with Rev. This is not asking him to pay. This is to read the article and get free newsletters, which who the hell wants that? You need to register with Bloomberg. So you need to give Bloomberg your email address so they can spam shit into your email and try and get you to subscribe. So technically you don't have to pay, but you do have to give up your data, which I suppose that could, in this day and age, could be considered a form of currency. But little bit of a gimme there. You don't actually, based on what I'm seeing here, you don't actually have to pay to read the article.
You to read a Jason Schreier article?
Theoretically,
no thanks,
Leo.
dude. You guys are really getting very cocky with this stuff. Like the games journalism scene is dying, and you're trying to paywall articles like this that literally can be explained by the headline. But anyways, they go on right here, like they said, with this whole go woke, go broke. And they say, if a game has any diversity, it's going to fail. No, there's plenty of games that do really well. There's a lot of woke aspects of Baldur's Gate 3. And that game is a massive success, respected.
Okay, and here's one reason why I actually try to avoid using the phrase woke in a descriptor. Because, like, sometimes, yes, I will use it because I'm just scrambling to try and find a correct adjective and I just can't reach one. And so I might, like, default to woke because I just can't grab the correct adjective escapes my mind. I dislike using woke because, yeah, it is over fucking used. Like, we'll call it what is. There are homosexual aspects in Baldur's Gate. You can have gay relationships in Baldur's Gate, which did not detract from Baldur's Gate being a fantastic fucking game that everyone loved and was a runaway success. There are gay romance options in Cyberpunk. Hell, there are transgender romance options, depending on how you create your character, in Cyberpunk. No one is labeling that as being woke. And Cyberpunk, generally speaking, is considered, after the initial fumble at launch, is considered a pretty damn good success. Mass Effect, yeah, I mean, we're going back even further with Mass Effect. Like, that's why I don't like using the term woke for this shit right now. It has become way too overused, way too generalized, and does not actually point to the specific stuff. The DEI stuff is you can point to because that is not talking about the behind the scenes stuff. The choices made in the hiring practices of the people that they have doing this.
Cheer 100 a meme I saw once for Baldur's Gate 3. You play a red dragonborn because they look cool. I play a red dragonborn so Lizel can finally ride a red dragon. We are not the same.
Okay. I don't understand some of that. I'm guessing Dragonborn is one of the races you can choose in Baldur's Gate, but okay, that's funny.
By many, many gamers, and it's still outperforming a lot of games in 2024, despite being released nearly a year and a half ago. So that is just a false claim. But they continue on, saying, although there have been incredible games released this year, Balatro, Final Fantasy VIII Rebirth, Metaphor, Astrobot, Black Myth Wukong.
Now, I thought Balatro was just like a card game that was just meh. Am I thinking of the right game? Like, I thought that this was just like a card game. Like a fancy card game, but just a card game? Cowboy, I switched back to my OG. I switched back to my OG and tweaked the settings on it to see if that improves it. Yeah, a roguelike poker game. Yeah, that's what I thought. That's what I thought. It's like I'm sure it could be done, but it would be pretty hard to DEI Balatro. I'm sure it could be done, but goddamn, you'd have to actually work hard to do something like that.
Balatro, Final Fantasy VIII Rebirth, Metaphor, Astrobot, Black Myth Wukong.
Who just said Rev can?
Warframe is teamed with Balatro, believe it or not.
Really? No kidding! I had no idea. And Leo, why did you say Rev can't? Oh, he said Final Fantasy VIII. Yeah, okay. Oops. Okay, wow. Huh. So Eki, is Balatro in Warframe or is Warframe in Balatro? Wait. How is it? Some of the face cards in Balatro are Warframes. Oh, okay, cool. Okay, that's pretty cool. Huh.
Just couldn't distract from the troubles faced by the people making them. They couldn't make up for the fact that the meta narrative of video games in 2024 was bleak. You know, for a lot of people, I think there's a lot of games that people did enjoy. I mean, there was a lot of great games, including games like Stellar Blade
I can't
that they
direct.
failed to mention, probably for
Oh,
reasons, personal reasons.
yeah. Who was it in chat that was saying, why is Stellar Blade not being mentioned in here? Well, there you go. Rev also pointed that out. Mm-hmm.
But there was a lot of good games out there this year. It wasn't all just doom and gloom. And if anything, we saw a lot of small indie games, double-A studios, and alike do really well, basically filling in the gaps that
Yeah.
AAA releases were
Said it was
allowing
fine.
to be filled up.
Stellar Blade was fine. A lot of people enjoyed it. They thought that was a good action game. And, you played as an incredibly sexy hero that kicked ass. So, yeah, people liked it.
Up because they were just very disappointing. But Ball says that the blame for all of this can't be pinned to a single thing, like capitalism, mismanagement, COVID-19.
Wait just a goddamn second. Dude, you're in the video game industry. That is fucking capitalism. Do not try and romanticize this bullshit. You make video games to make money. If you wanted to make a video game for the art of it, then you shouldn't be a part of a major development studio. Go make that shit on your own. If you are part of a major development studio, capitalism is the goal. That's flat out the fucking goal of a game development studio. So please, don't try and fuck with that.
COVID-19, it's 2024, dude. Or even interest rates. It also involves development costs, how studios are staffed, consumers' spending habits, and game pricing. The storm is so brutal, he says, because it is all of these things.
How studios are staffed, consumer spending habits, and game pricing, those are actually fair assessments. Studios, I'm guessing studios probably have a lot of bloat. Yeah, and Zeb, you're right. All those development costs and saying that's part of capitalism. That's tangentially related to capitalism. So, go fuck yourself on this part, dude. But I will say that how studios are staffed and how much bloat they have, yeah, that is a thing. That's legitimately a thing. There's been a lot of bloat in studios right now where they've got people on staff they very likely do not need. They're doing a job that probably doesn't need to be done, or they've split up the workload so much that it's stupid. I think I remember hearing one thing where if one developer found an issue in the code and they needed a correction for it, they had to send it up through 2 different chains of command just to be able to get a fix for the code, when realistically they should only have to do a single fire off an email to one destination, and the issue could be addressed. So there is a lot of bloat in staffing. Consumer spending habits, yeah. When every fucking thing is going up in price and everything is becoming insanely expensive, yet wages are staying stagnant, yeah, consumer spending habits absolutely are going to change. Which means you need to make a damn good game to justify people spending 60, 70 plus fucking dollars on your video game. It's honestly a pretty dirt simple goddamn metric. If you can't figure that out, that's a you problem, not a customer problem. And then, of course, the game pricing dovetails into that. you know, when your AAA game, this is why they're trying to push the Ultimate Editions or the subscription-based model. Is because of people's spending habits. They're trying to trick people with the, oh, you know, you can spend $125 for the Ultimate Edition, or just spend $25 a month on the subscription, and you'll get the Ultimate Edition with all the extra goodies into it. And then we're going to hope and pray that you forget that you're spending that $25 a month, and it just auto renews every fucking month, and we get your $25 off every month when you totally forgot about it. Yeah.
At once, and none have really alleviated since layoffs began. So this journalist here sees what this person is saying, where at no point do they mention anything about like chud gamers, but they're gonna make it about chud gamers. Don't you worry about it. So the next section is for indie developers, specifically, the threat to their existence has been substantial. The threat to their existence.
What? For indie developers, the threat to their existence, dude, it's the same goddamn metric. If you make a good game that people like, there is zero threat. If you make a dog shit game, like The Day Before, like Gollum, yes, if you make a shit game, you get shut down. That's how this shit works. And yeah, said indie studios, the ones that are making out some quality games, yeah, they are booming. Not all of them, but the indie studios, the indie devs are starting to rise. They are. We are seeing a rise in both quality and number of indie game studios.
My God, they're so dramatic. Dozens of small studios shuttered in 2024. Rip Dustborn. Though it's difficult to get a full picture of how many indie studios the industry lost, as there's more likely to shut down quietly without much fanfare or before many players even know they exist. Okay. With dwindling opportunities to get funding from investors and little cash to go around, developers sought alternative methods to fund their games in the past year. Some took bankrolling into their own hands. Among Us creator Inner Sloth launched an initiative to give fellow developers backing to finish projects. Others, like Tales of Kinzera Zhao, developer Surgeon Studios, made their public plans in early development in hopes of attracting investments, all while fending off racist attacks from the anti-DEI crowd, making the challenges they're facing.
Okay, I don't know anything about Surgeon Studios. With Tales of Kenzera, I've never heard of this. Unless this journalist wants to fucking cite some sources about quote-unquote racist attacks from the anti-DEI crowd, you're full of shit. Because calling something a racist attack from the anti-DEI crowd is meaningless now. It's absolutely meaningless. It has literally become a blanket use expression for you don't like my game, you are racist and anti-DEI. It is a blanket term now. It means precisely nothing.
Twofold. Now, with Tales of Zhao, the main reason that game failed, or Tales of Kinzera Zhao, is simply because they were affiliated with Sweet Baby. That's not the only...
Oh, sick. Well, this explains a lot. Okay. This is plenty of an explanation. Now I understand why this author was saying racist attacks from the anti-DEI crowd. Because Sweet Baby Inc. was involved, and anytime Sweet Baby Inc. is involved in something, any criticism is instantaneously categorized as racist or anti-DEI. Now it makes sense. Okay. Yeah.
Any reason they failed, this game really just didn't have any momentum to begin with, but it was immediately discovered that they were collaborating with the woke.
Cheer 100 Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2 is an example of a game that will hopefully be really good. They've delayed the game so many damn times that it's honestly super.
Okay, I'm gonna jump past that. Gremlin, easy on the essaying, please. But yeah, Vampire the Masquerade is, but the Vampire the Masquerade is a franchise that has a lot of opportunities for rich lore. And talking about being delayed multiple times is if you need to delay your game because you need to get your ducks in a row on it, that's fine. It's fine if you delay. And if what happened in 2020 caused it to be pushed back, also fine, understandable. Just make sure that, yeah, it's delayed. It's delayed for a good reason. And you know what? People, like, the gamers that actually matter, the gamers that are actually going to be spending money on your game in the first place, are fine with you delay. They are. Because if you have to delay because you need to tighten up the game or something has caused a delay, something outside of your control has caused a delay, gamers will understand. The gamers that will actually buy your product will understand. And they'll be like, okay, shit happens. Just make sure your stuff is tight and we can wait for it. We're disappointed, but at least you told us about it. We understand. We'll wait. That's like not, and I wouldn't even categorize that as an excuse. That's like a legitimate reason. You've got other companies that pull this shit and just throw excuses that
Cheer
are
100 being
bullshit.
unfashionable late and not having a clue if the question asked as the stream title has been answered.
A couple times, Agra, yes. So, yeah, I mean, it's the excuse, and here's the thing, the excuses we're hearing here are not delayed excuses. Bear that in mind. What we're hearing in this video is not referring to delays of games. These excuses being put out are excuses post-launch of why the game failed. None of it has to do with a delay of a game. None of the excuses at play here or none of the reasons why a game failed here is due to a delay. It's because the game was dog shit, the story was dog shit, and the game was made by and promoted by dog shit people that don't actually care about their customer base and they just want to promote agendas. There it is.
Consulting firm, Sweet Baby. It was a project listed on their website, and right then and there, the game just had no chance. And you can blame Sweet Baby for that. Don't blame gamers who don't want to see a game connected to that. And honestly, it all worked out the way that many predicted, with Surgeon Studios doing massive layoffs, and it appears so that they might be shutting down as a result
Thank you for
of
the follow,
failure
DJ.
of this game. Again, a lot of people might have said this wasn't the most woke game or even woke at all, but the fact it was connected to Sweet Baby was a death mark. And that says,
Gremlin, exactly right. If you admit, okay, we fucked up, people will be more forgiving and allow you the opportunity to fix your shit. If you fuck up and you say it's all your fault, we're sweet angels, you're the reason why this is bad, yeah, people are gonna go, okay, well, kindly go fuck yourself. Look at all the games that had a poor launch and then turned around and came back and brought it back and became successful. No Man's Sky, Cyberpunk, those two big ones. Those two, yeah, No Man's Sky and Cyberpunk are perfect examples. They both launched to rather poor reviews. No Man's Sky probably more so than Cyberpunk. Cyberpunk was the issue there was bugginess, not so much the content. No Man's Sky was the content. So both of them launched. They had a bad launch. What did both companies do? They went, fuck, we screwed up. Sorry. Put their heads down. Fixed their shit. And now the games are huge. No Man's Sky is still big. Cyberpunk is huge. It launched a full price DLC that is probably just as big as the original game, and I've heard they're going to be doing even more for it. Well, yeah, it is missing a ton of content that was promised, but they did fix their
Cheer
shit.
108-bit old, but Final Fantasy XIV's original release was a mess. Then Square Enix hired Naoki Yoshida, who rebuilt the game from the ground up.
Really?
And now the game's one of the best MMOs 11 years running.
Okay. Final Fantasy, which one was that? Yeah, no. Zao, I know it's 14. I'm trying to think of which one that is. Was that Lightning's Return? The only Final Fantasy game I know is Final Fantasy VII. That's the only Final Fantasy game I know. So which one's Final Fantasy 14? I don't know that one. Is Final Fantasy Online? Oh, it's the MMO. Okay. Huh. Is it still going? Is Final Fantasy 14 still going? It's still not strong. Maybe I'll have to check it out. Maybe I'll have to check it out and play it on stream. Maybe. Nah. Maybe we'll look into that. I'll look into it.
A lot about Sweet Baby and really the state of the industry, that people just don't want anything associated with DEI. And that's a fair thing to say, by the way. If you don't like these things, you speak with your wallet. You're allowed to have preferences. If you don't like studios that push DEI, that's your prerogative, and you should be able to choose games to support or not support based on that. But a lot of these people just don't get it.
This piece should have been in the previous Cheer 100. My list entry has been lost due to either a malfunctioning fax machine, a dead dial-up modem, or maybe the Commodore PET used for data entry finally died.
What? Okay.
But continuing on, even studios owned by tech juggernauts weren't immune to the industry's contraction. Microsoft shuttered Arcane Austin and Tango Gameworks. Sony shut down Firewalk. The later...
Who remembers why Arcane Austin was shut down? Eh? Who remembers the abomination of a game that Arcane Austin put out that caused it to get shut down? It was... I'm actually blanking on the name. It was basically a vampire game. Arcane Austin is a Microsoft company. It was a studio by Redfall. Thank you, Dressa. I couldn't remember the name. Yeah, Arcane Austin put out a game called Redfall, which was a cooperative shooter where you're in this town and you're supposed to and you basically vampire killers. The story was fucking stupid. The AI in it with the vampires was god awful. It was an absolute shit game. And when it launched in such piss poor shape, they actually had to put stickers on all of the game cartridges saying that the game would only run at 30 FPS. It would not run at 60 FPS like was originally promised. The game was supposed to run at 60 FPS. They couldn't get it to run at 60. They had to drop it down to 30. So all of the game cartridges, or I'm talking about the game containers, they all had to have stickers put on them saying that this game will only run at 30 FPS, not the 60 FPS, but that was promised. That the 60 FPS was going to be coming in a later update or some bullshit like that. Yeah, it was an abysmal fucking failure. Absolutely, yeah, 30 FPS on an Xbox One X and One S, which is rated for 4K. So yeah, they Arcane Austin shut down. Probably the best review I saw of it was Angry Joe. Angry Joe did a review on Redfall. If you want to watch it and laugh your ass off, watch his review. It's a really bad fucking game. I don't know about Tango Gameworks. I'm not sure what game Tango Gameworks put out that caused it to get shuttered. Off the top of my head, I'm not entirely sure which one that one was. If anybody knows, let me know.
Cheer 100. I can't actually watch stuff in 4K.
Really?
I got motion sick seeing a 4K TV at Best Buy.
And Leo, I'm guessing the incredibly smooth movements in 4K might have screwed you up, maybe. I suppose I can actually kind of understand about that. I can. Why would we be talking about Red Dead 2, Wolfie? We're talking about games that sucked. Why would we be putting Red Dead 2 into that equation?
Ladders shuttering what?
Shit, I'm pausing Rev a lot. I'm sorry. Sorry about that. They did Hi-Fi Rush. Okay, yeah, I remember hearing about that. I didn't realize it was Tango. Yeah, Hi-Fi Rush was lauded as being a great fucking game, and then Microsoft, for some reason, shuttered Tango. When the game that they just put out was beloved. People absolutely loved Hi-Fi Rush. It did really well, and Microsoft rewarded them by killing the studio. Yeah, okay, now I know what we're talking about there. Okay, I gotcha. What? Yeah, because Microsoft wanted to pump more money into like studios like fucking Bethesda. But they maybe they think Bethesda is their goddamn cash cow. I don't fucking know. It's another brain dead decision by the parent company. Shit. Big shocker. Okay, so that's yeah, like this is one that legitimately it was a studio shutdown that did not make any fucking sense. Oh, I don't know, Apoc. I'm not sure. But out of this entire article, this is the one studio shutdown that, yes, they were a victim of corporate greed, and the studio actually put out a good game that people liked, and they got fucked over. It is the one example out of this whole article so far I'll agree with. The singular one. That's it. All the rest of them, no. Arcane Austin, you deserve to get shut down. Firewalk, which he's about to discuss. Yeah, Firewalk deserved to get shut down for this bullshit. Absolutely. Oh, Crafton bought Tango? Okay. I have no idea who Crafton is, by the way. Mia, please don't get your hopes up. Please, please, please don't get your hopes up. Okay? It's... Number one, who the fuck knows when the next Elder Scrolls is even gonna come out? But based on how they hyped the ever-living fuck out of Starfield, and look at what we got, don't get your hopes up, okay? Yeah, Starfield was not a quote-unquote bad game. It is nowhere near the fucking masterpiece Bethesda tried to hype it up to be, realistically speaking. Yeah.
Wasn't wholly surprising. Its big 2024 release, Concord, was largely considered a flop. Largely considered a flop? No, it's unanimously considered a flop.
It flopped so fucking hard, it took the studio with it, for God's sake, and they shut it down.
I finally decided to cull Windoof and other MS products along with it Cheer 100 for now to build competence level mint.
Okay. Yeah. The Concord is not considered a flop when the game literally got shut the fuck down. It's not considered a flop. It is a trash fire. Okay? Flop is being overly kind. When a game is so bad it shuts down after a week, and the studio goes right along with it shortly after, that's not a flop. That's a trash fire. And the game community was roasting marshmallows on it.
They literally refunded the $1 million they made on this hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollar budget game. and they even returned that 1 million just to save face because it
Yep.
wasn't worth continuing. That is an abject failure, not considered a flop. But anyways, but
The
having
coke
a
is
hit
strong,
didn't
this
stop
writer.
studios a safety net, didn't give studios any safety net. Near universal acclaim for Tango's Hi-Fi Rush didn't
Yep.
stop Microsoft's axe. It did, though, give Tango just enough juice to be revived by a new buyer. Let's see how revived Hi-Fi Rush is. Up 92 players right now. 92 in-game players.
Guy, Rev is kind of shitting on this, but like I've never played Hi-Fi Rush, but I heard that Hi-Fi Rush was actually a good game. Every time I've ever heard Hi-Fi Rush mentioned, it was a good game. It was a small game. You know, this was a small game. This was not a massive launch like you would get from the a AAA title. It was fine, but it didn't receive publicity and it didn't get a major launch like you get with a lot of these games. And by the way, yeah, Red is gonna point out there's only 92 people in game. But look at the reviews. I mean, look at the reviews for this game. They are overwhelmingly positive. Like, hang on a second. Hang on. Here we go. Wait, hang on. There we go. Yeah, I mean, right now, it's got 149 players. So, yeah, well, it's not a lot. It fell off pretty quick. You know, it released almost a year ago. So yeah, it released almost a year ago. It had a pretty strong audience for a small game like this. And then in summertime it started tapering off because a lot of games came out in the summer. But you know, this is a game that's a year old. It's, you know, no, it didn't have a lot of staying power, but people had fun with it. I'm guessing there probably wasn't a whole lot of content or replayability for it. For everything I heard about Hi-Fi Rush, it was fine for what it was, and the people that played it enjoyed it. And obviously, based on the percentages here, people enjoyed it. But it was clearly an enjoyable game. Where's the problem?
Okay, yeah, it's doing great. Great example. In other words, it's been a dismal year for morale. When developers gathered in Los Angeles in June for Summer Game Fest, developer New Blood Interactive bought out...
That's a January. Yeah, it's a 2-year-old game. You're right. I already closed it. Yeah, I thought it said January 2024. No, you're right. It was January 2023. Yeah, that was almost 2 years ago. So, yeah, it's a 2-year-old game. And think about all the shit that's come out in 2 years. Yeah, so shitting on Hi-Fi Rush is disingenuous. It did well when it launched. It was a small game. It did well. It was very successful at launch, and it was, I think, shortly after its launch. It was I want to say it was not long after its launch that Microsoft axed Tango. Maybe, I don't know, they're talking about, this is saying it was in 2024, so maybe it was like 1 year after, but it still seemed like it was fairly successful at launch. So
a billboard solely to memorialize their fellow developers who lost their jobs. We love you.
What?
We miss you. We hate money.
Wait. When developers gathered in Los Angeles in June for the Summer Game Fest, I'm guessing that was the Refest. You know that video footage we saw earlier of all those game devs standing around the grass just reeing their heads off? That, I'm guessing that was this. And this developer bought out a billboard to memorialize, oh my fucking god. We love you, we miss you, we hate money. Dude? Okay, New Blood Initiative? And fun time. Thanks for the follow. New Blood Initiative. If you hate money, what in the holiest of fucks are you doing in the gaming industry if you hate money? Why are you a game developer if you hate money? As a game developer in a gaming industry. This is like fucking schizo behavior. This is cope edging into schizo behavior. Flat out. They basically, this is that they wanted to create some shit game, get patted on the head and told, good game dev, here's money. It's fine that we're going to lose our asses on this absolute dogshit game. This is coming from the everyone gets a trophy generation. That's where the everyone gets a trophy generation, this is what results from it. These are people who think, we put all of our heart into this, so we should be successful. And when they're not, their entire reality shatters. Because they come to realize this isn't a goddamn Hallmark movie, this is real life. Just because you put your heart into something doesn't mean it's good. You need to have actual talent. You need to put out an actual good product. You can't make money just off of your feelings. Life doesn't work that way.
What is going on? Also, how many developer game fests do they have? It's almost like every single month at this point. They love patting themselves on the shoulder for just existing. But anyways,
yeah,
this year may have been the 10th anniversary of Gamergate. The 2014 online hate movement that shaped the internet harassment tactics apparent today. But online, conversations felt like a trip back in time. Conservative ideologues bemoaned the inclusion of characters who did not fit the cookie-cutter image of a white, cis, hetero man.
First and foremost, journalist, go and kindly fuck yourself with this descriptor. Go and get cucked somewhere else. Go sit in the fucking cuck chair because your girlfriend will not fuck you. I guarantee this journalist who wrote this article has to sit in the cuck chair while his girlfriend fucks a much more manly guy because he can't do fuck all for her anymore. That is the only reason why you would evoke the white cis, and I swear to fucking Christ, I hate this expression.
Cheer 100 to this journalist. I have here a hybrid of a durian and a pineapple. Kindly sit on it and rotate.
People need to stop using this fucking expression. It is pointless. And by the way, they don't like the inclusions of characters who do not fit the cookie-cutter image of a white cis hetero man. Again, Your Honor, I would like to point out Exhibit A, Baldur's Gate. I would like to point out Exhibit B, Cyberpunk. I would like to point out Exhibit C, Mass Effect. Need I go the fuck on? This author, I don't even know who the fuck this author is, I don't remember seeing the name at the beginning, is a cuck. He's either a cuck or he's a they them. Because those are the people that evoke the character's not a white cis hetero man. Kindly go fuck yourself with a barbed wire wrapped dildo soaked in ghost pepper hot sauce. You are an idiot. You don't have a concept of reality. Yes. And Grinjal, thank you for the follow.
Complained that DEI was being forced upon them. it wasn't. No,
It was. The lie detector test determined that was a fucking lie. Okay? You have Concord literally pronouncing every fucking character. That is the definition of DEI. Game developers. I realize you're not watching my stupid ass little stream. I realize this and I appreciate this. I'm gonna still tell you facts anyway. Game developers. Stop putting pronouns in fucking games. Nobody fucking cares. The only people that care about pronouns being injected into games are the DEI soy fests that don't even buy your games in the first fucking place. They are not gamers. They are not your customer base. Your customer base doesn't give a fuck about pronouns. They also don't care if there are LGBT themes in their game as long as the characters are well written and it's a good story. Gamers are perfectly fine with gay and trans characters in a game. Let's not fuck with it. They are perfectly fine with it. Yes, you're going to have the outliers who are like, oh, there's gay in this, there's trans in this. Ew, I fucking hate this game. Yes, those exist. I'm not saying that they don't. They are the fringes. The vast majority of gamers are fine with gay and trans characters in their games. They have zero issue with it. The issue is when you create these games and you write these characters solely around that ideology and do not actually craft a well-written story or put together interesting characters that actually have you as a player interested in engaging with them or playing with them. So yes, dumb fuck, DEI was being forced upon gamers. Stop coping. Stop sucking the metaphorical dick for that access. That's what this journalist is doing. This journalist is sucking off the AAA studios to try and keep that sweet, sweet access.
it was. It's very obvious that it was. We've seen studios just outright say that they're pushing these things, okay? But on top of that, this idea that people only wanted cookie cutter images of white cis hetero men in games. How did games like Stellar Blade do so well with a Asian?
How the fuck did games like Black Myth Wukong do well? You play a goddamn anthropomorphic monkey in Black Myth Wukong. Last I checked, an anthropomorphic monkey is not a white cis hetero man. Unless I'm losing my fucking mind, and the definition has been turned into a goddamn quantum pretzel when I wasn't looking, that's not a white hetero male. For fuck's sake, Cyberpunk, which came out years ago, the lead kid, the Cyberpunk was actually written with the female version of V in mind. Most people that played Cyberpunk played the female version of V. Mass Effect. Most people played Femme Shepherd instead of Male Shepherd. No. Gamers do not only want white hetero men. Gamers, actual gamers, don't give a fuck. They just want a well-written character and a well-written story.
Cheer 100. Another thing about Wukong. Canonically, Sun Wukong is aromantic and asexual. So not hetero.
Okay, even more to my point. I didn't even know if there were romance options or anything in Black Myth Wukong or not. I didn't care. He was an anthropomorphic monkey. Not sad. Yeah, no, evil. You're right. a lot of guys actually prefer playing as girls. Fucking Assassin's Creed, Odyssey. The female version of the character was played far more than the male. This journalist has no brain. If he's gonna say that it does not fit the cookie cutter image of a white hetero man, they have no brain.
Female protagonist. Like, what is going on? People just want good games. They will gladly accept a minority or a woman in a position of a protagonist if it's actually a good game. That's the problem. It's a shield for criticism. They put a minority as a lead in a game and they have a low quality game. People don't want to play the game because it's just not appealing. Then they blame it on the racists who never gave it a chance in the first place because of the choice of protagonist. It's just a bunch of excuses.
And hence why racist means nothing anymore. Thank you, Pizza Man. Racist means nothing anymore. Really, facts right here. Okay? Racist, misogyny, homophobic, transphobic, all of it. All of that means nothing anymore. Which is not good. Those terms, once upon a time, had power to get people to go, oh shit, this is something we should take notice of. Because someone actually being racist is not good. Someone actually being racist is not a good thing. Someone actually being homophobic, transphobic, misogynistic, etc., is not good. Those words don't mean that anymore. All of those words literally only, their definitions have been rewritten societally to only mean you don't agree with what I think, you don't like what I like. That is now the definition of racist, homophobic, misogynist, transphobic, etc. That is now the societal definition of those words.
Are they real? For sure. But do they mean anything anymore? Practically not. They're used so loosely. Cheer 100.
That's precisely what I was saying. That's exactly what I'm saying. They've been so overused that they have lost their power. And they don't mean anything anymore. Which is bad because those actual issues that they're reading about do still exist. No one has ever said that racism is gone, transphobia is gone, etc.
Cheer 100. Are the racists in the room with us now?
Bagelsworth, I'm going to go on the assumption you are talking to the journalist here. Yeah. And this is the problem, because if people use them in the actual contextual way they are supposed to be used, people aren't going to pay attention anymore. That's why it's bad that they have lost their power because of this extreme overuse. Is that when someone actually calls out legitimate racism, legitimate homophobia, legitimate transphobia, legitimate misogyny, etc., nobody fucking cares anymore. Because they've been so overused, it's now, these words have literally turned into basically the same power as fuck. Thank you, Calder. It's, to quote one of my favorite comedians, Louis Black, where he was talking about the use of swear words in New York. Fuck is not a word, it's a comma. That has become what racist, homophobia, etc. has become. It has become, it has the emotional impact of a fucking comma.
But continuing on, in March, harassment towards a small consultancy company called Sweet Baby Inc. reached new heights as bad actors, organized through discords, Steam forums, and other online spaces, branding themselves as Gamergate 2.0. Dude, they branded themselves as Gamergate 2.0. You branded gamers as that title to make yourselves the perpetual victims.
And again, Gamergate 1 and Gamergate 2.0 never actually existed. Gamergate and Gamergate 2.0 is literally the gaming equivalent of journalists giving criminals fancy names to draw eyeballs on their paper. That's it. Gamergate 2.0 damn sure didn't happen. Gamergate 1 was a small percentage of something happening that got blown up extremely out of proportion. Gamergate 2 did not exist. Let's not fuck with this. This never existed. This was created out of thin air by journalists to push agendas and to promote DEI and try and make people that actually want decent fucking games look like the racists, the homophobes, etc., and thus facilitated the extreme overuse of said words. So yeah, let's not fuck with it. And Sweet Baby Inc. Basically, they are probably one of many agencies that pull this bullshit. They just got found out first. And they got put in the crosshairs, and they have basically become the standard bearer for this kind of bullshit.
They continue on. Online mobs harass developers using tweets,
No, they're not, Tanashi.
DMs, YouTube videos, and Twitch streams. They targeted anyone with any connection to Sweet Baby and any consultancies, a fairly wide net, as consultants are often brought on to advise on accuracy, sensitivity, and more.
And I suppose it's just a coincidence that 98% of the games that Sweet Baby Inc. worked on were dog shit. I just suppose that is just a huge fucking coincidence, right? It had nothing to do with the fact that Sweet Baby Inc. injected themselves and their DEI bridge bullshit into the games. Exactly, I think there was like Thor Ragnarok. For fuck's sake, God of War Ragnarok is like one game that I know of that Sweet Baby Inc. had involvement and people liked. That is the one singular game I am aware of off the top of my head where Sweet Baby was involved in it. Leo, if you're talking about the second Spider-Man game, people hated the game. Spider-Man did not do well. It had initial buzz, and then very quickly people started realizing, okay, this game is actually shit. God of War Ragnarok is the only game that I know of that started strong and stayed strong even after it was revealed that Sweet Baby Inc. had some kind of a hand in it. That's the only one I know of. Spider-Man 2 started off strong and then very quickly fell off. Because the story. Largely the story. Spider-Man, people were very unhappy with the story of Spider-Man 2. I can't remember if it was Spider-Man 2 or Spider-Man 1 where they had the Mary Jane scene. Where you had to have play as Mary Jane and you were sneaking around and stuff. I can't remember if that was 1 or 2 or not. I know people really hated that part. It's like the game mechanics of Spider-Man, people liked. The game mechanics of Spider-Man 2, I know people really enjoyed. The combat, everybody loved. It was basically like the combat in Spider-Man was basically like Arkham Batman, but you were Spider-Man, so you had a lot more mobility to it. So the actual game mechanics people really enjoyed. The story of Spider-Man 2, I've largely heard that people didn't like. And that's where the Sweet Baby Inc. injection would be, is the story.
Their mission was fighting against wokeification. The realities of the economic issues impacting games they love had no place in their tactics. The specter of diversity had more pull than analysts and experts. Okay, so basically you're saying the market spoke. by what you just said there. But let's go back, okay? Let's just reflect for one moment. Sweet Baby Inc., a woke consultancy firm that has caused...
Gonna offer correction. Not a woke consulting firm, a DEI/bridge consulting firm. Again, I really dislike the use of woke. It is another word that has been overused to an extreme and is broad scoped. DEI and bridge is much more focused. If you say DEI, you know exactly what they're talking about. Woke is too much of a blanket statement these days.
Ripples across the industry. It is at a point where they basically have to hide everything they're doing. They've been driven even further underground. And once again, we have an article that ignores the reason all of this started. This is the reason the entire backlash against Sweet Baby Inc.
Zeb, I never liked using social justice warriors. That's why I called them SJAs, social justice activists. Because these people are not warriors. Warriors are the soldiers that go into hot zones and take hails of gunfire in defense of the country or fighting an enemy. These people are not warriors. I have never called them SJWs. I've always called them SJAs. Because they are activists, social justice activists. Well, I mean, okay, Zeb, fair point there. It's just, I never even bothered trying to mock them by it, and I just take the warrior out of it entirely. I will not give them even the mocking dignity of being called a warrior.
Reached a fever pitch back in February.
Thank you,
Their
free
employee, Chris
citizen.
Kindred, told everyone in his following to falsely report Steam group Sweet Baby Inc. detected, and the personal account of Cabrutus Rambo, who was the one who created the Sweet Baby Inc. detected Steam group. That is what started a firestorm. That's what ignited all the criticism against Sweet Baby. Again,
Yeah. This motherfucker, Chris Kindred, is probably singularly responsible for the meteoric rise in anti-DEI hate. Were it not for Chris Kindred, we as the general public might still not even know about how
remember,
deep
we're
it goes.
still talking about games that can't even compete with Goat Simulator.
Bobcat, I got one. Squirrel with gun. Take that. I see your Goat Simulator, and I raise you squirrel with a gun. But this guy here is probably single-handedly responsible for literally putting DEI and bridge onto the societal map of people of the gaming industry, and for the industry and for the entertainment industry at large. He is what caused everyone to know what DEI is, to know what bridge is, to understand what it's doing to the entertainment industry at large, which includes gaming. This motherfucker right here, because he pulled this bullshit, put DEI and bridge on the map. So thank you, Chris Kindred. You single-handedly caused this entire industry to get exposed. In a weird way that I'm sure you wish never happened, we all owe you something of a societal debt for imparting this knowledge to us. Did she appear at Bigglesworth? It's possible. I don't know. All I know is that I did not start hearing about this until Chris Kittredge started going after Cabrutus about his Sweet Baby Inc. detector, and everything about DEI I heard just steamrolled from that. I have no idea if Kirsty started exposing it previously. I could not tell you.
Journalist who clearly is not very good at their job or incredibly biased leaves out this incredibly important detail because it doesn't suit their narrative. But continuing on, games with black leads and characters were derided as forced. Female characters deemed unattractive or masculine were suffering from DEI chin.
Okay, first of all, games with black leads were not derided, and characters were not derided as forced. They were not. Are people feeling extremely gun shy about any game where the lead character is ethnically and socially diverse? Yes, because we have had so many fucking major game development studios cramming this shit down our throats. If we have a game released where the character is ethnically diverse or socially diverse, i.e. LGBT, our first reaction is, okay, how DEI is this game gonna be? Because we've been getting it non-fucking stop. So yeah, people are gun shy. They are going to go, I don't know about this. This feels like, is this gonna be, am I about to get jebaited again? Because I've been getting jebaited for the last 5 or 10 years by the industry with this bullshit. It's an understandable reaction, honestly. If you basically are systematically eliminating white leads, particularly white heterosexual male leads, for literally everything else, yes, people are going to be suspicious. That is a natural fucking reaction when you literally try and eliminate a very specific archetype. This is literally the same thing as what happened 20 plus years ago, where it was, yeah, what's the word I'm looking for? Oh fuck, I had this word in my head and I just lost it. Damn it. Anyway, it's, yeah, basically well, not exactly token characters or token minorities, Zeb. Not exactly. It's because we're talking about flat out eliminating them. It's okay. Here, okay. I got the perfect I have the perfect example actually. This is just like when Disney was forced to remove, or was forced to get rid of Song of the South because of the black characters and the fact that it discussed slavery. And they were forced to get rid of it. Disney was forced to shit can it. This is essentially we're kind of we're kind of sort of, not exactly, I understand that it is different, I do. It's kind of the same thing. We are kind of into this, we are into kind of the modern day equivalent of that. Where don't put the straight white guy in there because, you know, all straight white guys are racist. Straight white men are racist and evil now. It's that kind of mentality, along with the completely insane thought process of you cannot be racist to white people. I'm not even going to jump into that. Just saying you can't be racist to white people is in of itself racist. And that's all I'm going to say.
I had to look this one up. I've never actually heard of a DI chin, but apparently this is a thing that was created this year. DI chin is an expression that has been used to refer to perceived trend in female characters in video games and animations that have strong, defined jawline associated by some with woke culture, DEI, and modern trends in video game development. So I had not heard of the phrase DEI chin, but thanks to this journalist, I will be including this in future videos because it's an absolute banger. So thanks to The Wired for informing.
By the way, I am not a Warhammer 40k fan. I know absolutely fuck all about Warhammer 40k other than the Space Marines and the whole heresy thing. Warhammer 40k fans in chat, based on your knowledge of lore, does this look like well, number one, I understand female custodies are not a thing. That much I know about Warhammer 40k, there is no such thing as a female custodies. Okay? That being said, does this look appropriate? Actually, why the fuck am I even asking this? I don't even know why I'm asking this. Okay, Grey Map. The Sisters of Battle. There are Sisters of Battle. Okay. We'll go that route. Does this look like an applicable Sisters of Battle archetype to the face? We'll go the route of Sisters of Battle. Does this look like this would be an appropriate visage for a Sisters of Battle? Out of curiosity. I have a lot of no's and a maybe. Okay. For a sister, possibly. Okay. From what I recall, some sisters are hot, some are not. Fair enough.
Am I understanding, seeing this right? A Dei chin is basically a Habsburg chin? Cheer 100.
Agler, I'm not sure what a Habsburg chin is. If you're just talking about a manly cleft chin, perhaps? Yeah, this woman has a manly cleft chin. Yeah. Yeah, DEI chin fits. Oh, okay,
on a very great tool here. But continuing on, Dragon Age the Veilguard was criticized by far-right trolls for its customization.
Hey chat, did you know I'm a far-right troll? Who knew? Wait, but I was called a woke leftist in YouTube. The mean old people of YouTube called me a far-right leftist, but I've criticized Veilguard, so that makes me a far-right troll. Oh god, chat, I'm having an existential crisis. What am I? Am I a woke leftist or am I a far-right troll? I don't know. Or maybe I'm just a person who has their own fucking mind and likes and dislikes shit without needing to be labeled as something. You know, normal.
Cheer 100. So current game industry creators that capitulate to these people are making women ugly, more masculine and behave abrasive. Can we just say these people hate women cause they can't find one at this point?
Yeah, I'm fine with that. I'm fine with saying that. Yeah, that these people hate women, even though they supposedly claim to champion women. Yeah, I'll go with that. Dark Hasio, that's
Cheer 100A. Don't
Habsburg
listen to her.
chin
She's drunk
refers
on
to an
cheese
underbite.
and is named for the Habsburg royal family, which was infamously inbred and had physical abnormalities such as the underbite in question.
Yeah, okay. And Hasio, to your point, I don't call myself anything. You know what I call myself? Ember, the VTuber anime cat girl.
Cheer 100. You own opinion? That's both alt-right and radical leftist. According to Dum Dums Tilda.
Well said? Good. 'Cause I don't fucking care. I'm not right, I'm not left, I'm not centrist. Hi, I'm Ember, the anime cat girl who has her own mind. Nice to meet you. Why don't you stay for a while? Let's rage. Or have fun. I did try to have fun too.
Options, which allow players to create characters with top surgery scars or play with non-binary companion. After reviews were released, conspiracists latched onto cliched
Yeah, sorry, and I kind of just blew right past this. Yeah, characters with top surgery scars or play with non-binary champion in a goddamn Dragon Age game. Okay? This is Dragon Age, a fantasy medieval game where they don't do fucking mastectomies. Okay, yeah, battle scars, sure. Not fucking mastectomy scars, for fuck's sake. And then, like, non-binary chat, was there non-binary people in the previous Dragon Age games before Veilguard? I know there was like a trans character, but was there a non-binary character in any of the previous Dragon? Actually, scratch that. I retract my statement because the non-binary thing not only is a character, it's you too. You, as the fucking player character, also could be non-binary. So it's not only just play with a non-binary champion. You could play as a fucking non-binary character in goddamn Dragon Age. Fuck you.
Phrases in other language as proof that Studio BioWare was instructing reviewers how to talk about their game. Well, they definitely did some of that too. It's been proven. But they make this claim that because of these character creation options that these alt-right, far-right gamers would just never give it a chance. Well, what about Baldur's Gate 3? Having pretty much the same. The difference between Baldur's Gate 3 and Veilguard is that the woke features ended at character creation as opposed to Veilguard, where that was the whole game. It wasn't just a few little things here. The entire storyline was driven by woke nonsense, by characters coming out as non-binary, pulling a barf, doing push-ups and misgendering one another. Like, so much ridiculous stuff. It was caked into every aspect of the game. But next they say, even not released titles face bombardment. Compulsion Games, South of Midnight. I don't have to read anymore. They're affiliated with Sweet Baby. They're a Sweet Baby customer or client. That's it. That is why people are critical of that game. And there's very bad designs. There's a photoshopped example here, but you don't need the photoshopped example. The real examples are not good. But continuing on.
Honestly, I'm kind of curious what the photoshopped example of the heroine to make her look less, quote, repulsive needs. I have no idea what fucking South of Midnight is. Never even heard of it. About a young black woman deep south. I'd never heard of that. First I'm hearing of this game. I am kind of intrigued.
But pressure to remain apolitical, a curious agenda for an entertainment form that marries the artistic preferences of narrative and imaginary worlds with agency granted to players who inhabit them. Dude, get over yourself. My God. Did not come just from a vocal minority. Following the release of Black Myth Wukong, some streamers were given instructions to avoid talking about COVID-19 or feminist propaganda. The guidelines had the opposite effect, encouraging streamers to lead with the code words they've been barred from, a push against standards meant to...
I never heard about this. Someone educate me, because what streamers were given instructions to avoid talking about COVID or feminist propaganda? What? When are they talking? They did that on YouTube too? I never heard about. I know that a lot of content creators would like particularly on YouTube, they would say "coof" instead of COVID, because I think YouTube was like demonetizing videos that talked about COVID. So I know that they had to. It's the same thing with talking about like unaliving or self-deleting. They had to use those code words so the algorithm wouldn't, the AI wouldn't pick it up and demonetize the video or something. But what is this? Streamers were given instructions about feminist propaganda. I have never heard about about streamers not being able to talk about feminist propaganda. That's a new one on me. It was a platform restriction, not the student. You think so? I don't know. Like the way this writer's talking about it, I just don't fucking know. This is a very vague statement. I don't even know why this is put in here. This is extremely vague.
Actually censor player. That didn't happen. Where did that happen? I don't see any source for this pushback that people did, apparently against this right here, this notice given to reviewers. That was very simple, okay?
Yeah.
Review Black Myth Wukong.
Okay, so I'm not fucking crazy or lose my mind. This didn't happen. Okay, good to know that at least part of my brain is still intact at this point.
And don't include a bunch of political nonsense. That's a very fair request from...
Yeah, do not include politics, violence, nudity, feminist propaganda, fetishization, or other content that instigates negative discourse. Yeah, because it was Black Myth Wukong, and the lead character is what you guys said that the lead character was asexual, right? Yeah, but not in the way that this author was saying. Okay, the void talking about COVID-19 or feminist propaganda, but the character of the lead character in Black Myth Wukong was asexual, correct? Well, I mean, Atanashi, the problem is at this point they're kind of interchangeable in modern terminology. Or you say he is. Like, I don't know. I thought one of you guys had said that the lead character is considered asexual. I don't know. And Bob, thank you for the follow. Yeah, well, it's don't include basically, yeah, feminist propaganda. It along with all this other shit, including politics, that instigates negative discourse. So, I mean, technically, yes, the author's correct. The context the author is talking about is completely off base. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, misandry would have been better. Would have been a better choice. It would have been a little bit more definitive. Yeah. But here's the problem. There was no coding in reviews of Black Myth Wukong where they were coding feminist propaganda, talking about feminist propaganda in code. To my knowledge, that didn't happen. So, okay, yeah, so the feminist propaganda, I mean, who the fuck knows why they put this in here? I don't know. Do not use trigger words such as quarantine, isolation, or COVID-19. So they did say don't talk about COVID-19. Okay. How? Yeah, Hoseki? Yeah, you're probably right. Because of the deliberate mistranslations of the devs, where they deliberately mistranslated what the devs said to make it seem like they were misogynists and like sexually harassing their coworkers. Yeah, I bet that may have been a factor. And this one, yeah. But again, hang on. Okay, so pressure to remain apolitical. So honestly, like, this is, I think, because the game was made in China, they're probably still, like, really shieldy about the whole thing, you know, with the, what's the word I'm looking for? The line of thought that a lot of people have that it basically oh, excuse me, that COVID originated in China and got out of a lab. And they, you know, my guess is that if a game made by a Chinese company and streamers were talking about it, would look bad upon China. And of course, you know, I'm guessing the devs didn't want to get a deduction in social credits. Yeah, that's what I mean, Merlin. This obviously was a directive that came from the CCP. With this one and this one. These two bottom ones came from the CCP. So that's where this came from. Which, by the way, has nothing to do with the anti-woke, you know, choo-choo train that this author is on. This author completely has, like, derailed off of their we hate the anti-wokes that has been in throughout this entire article. We've gone wildly off topic on this particular part.
That's a very fair request from Game Science, okay? And just because, you know, these people, like this journalist, are so obsessed with themselves, they think everything is political. Well, you know what? You can review Black Myth Wukong without talking about feminist propaganda. Like, yeah. Are you kidding me? There's a reason they mention that stuff. It has no place. It doesn't even make sense. It's just annoying, and it detracts from giving an honest review of the game. But anyways, looking ahead to 2025, Ball says he hears more pessimism generally, but it just sucks to contemplate, let alone predict. If there is one plus, he says, it's that there is a lot more hiring happening than is generally believed. Downside is it's not
I'm pulling bullshit. I am calling bullshit on that. That there's a lot more hiring than that is generally believed. While I don't know people in the gaming industry, I do know people in the in like a tertiary part of the entertainment industry. They're not hiring. They are not. I know people that work in aspects of the entertainment industry. They cannot find a fucking job in that industry to save their life. So I'm calling bullshit on where the fuck did it go? There are a lot more hiring happening than generally believed. I guarantee that is bullshit. They're actually firing more people than hiring. All I hear about is, I can't get a job. Can you give me a recommendation because they're desperately trying to get a job? That's all I hear about. The entertainment industry writ large is crumbling. And people cannot find jobs. So this is bullshit.
Yearly compensating overall, especially at indies. As 2024 comes to a close, the industry is operating from the outside with a business as usual mindset. In December, developers gathered in Los Angeles to celebrate the Game Awards. On stage, host Geoff Keighley made a small speech amid game announcements, accolades, and a performance from Snoop Dogg. The sad reality is that over the past few years, the gaming industry has suffered significant and unprecedented industry-wide layoffs, Keighley said. Those affected by those affect the games we get to play, and even more important, the people who make the games we love. We can debate on certainly disagree with the reasons why. And honestly, as a show of, we kind of struggle with how to address these topics in a constructive way. I'm sorry, my brain's literally rotting from reading this article, but we're almost through it, okay? There's one more section that's important. Keighley used this segment to introduce the Game Awards' first Game Changer Award, a nod to an individual who had positively impacted the industry. Then the show continued with headline-dominating announcements about major projects like The Witcher 4 and the next title from Last of Us developer Naughty Dog.
Interesting choice that this author said major projects like The Witcher 4, but didn't actually put in the name Intergalactic. They just said the next title from the Last of Us developer Naughty Dog. Why was this journalist so scared to say Intergalactic? Huh? That's an interesting choice. Mike, I don't know, and honestly, I don't think anybody really cares. Yeah. This journalist mentions The Witcher 4 by name. Did not say Intergalactic. But said they could have said Witcher 4 and Intergalactic from Naughty Dog. Well, why would there be a lawsuit, Bigglesworth? In a journalistic article saying that the Game Awards announced major releases like The Witcher 4, why would Naughty Dog's lawyers have a problem with the journalist saying that the Game Awards announced Witcher 4 and Intergalactic? That's a publicly known thing. Naughty Dog's lawyers would not come after the journalist because of this. This game's journalist, and by the way, don't forget, Intergalactic? I said, like, the game looks kind of interesting. Don't forget, I was like, okay, Intergalactic, from the teaser we got, looks like it could be maybe interesting. But of course, it was a teaser. It showed no real gameplay, so I was like, I don't know, but it could be interesting. This is a game journalist that is obviously DEI'd. Himself, herself, itself, I don't know what. Why not actually say intergalactic? It's an interesting choice. Huh? And instead decided to use The Last of Us. Not even The Last of Us 2. The Last of Us. Exactly, Guardian. That's my point. Mention The Witcher 4. Didn't mention Intergalactic. Didn't reference Last of Us 2. Only referenced The Last of Us. Think about that.
Well, that's great. So this whole Game Changer Award was a massive controversy. So this is the individual right here
Oh, yeah.
who was presenting himself
that's
as
right.
this
It was him.
humble, small member of the industry.
Yeah.
Right? This humble guy.
This guy's
Turns
a
out
major officer.
He is a major executive at Tencent and responsible for acquisitions of other IPs. AKA, this is the guy that ends up getting...
Guardian, the point I was inferring is even a DEI journalist like this won't invoke Intergalactic in the article as an announced game that's supposed to be a big announcement, because Intergalactic has been very widely panned in the preview. Granted, I did not. I said, okay, the teaser looks interesting. I'm going to reserve judgment. Generally speaking, it has been panned and the shit beaten out of it by most in the gaming community.
Thousands and thousands of people in the industry laid off. So this journalist is complaining
I'd
about
say
layoffs
after
the whole
that.
time,
And
while praising
Duke, thank you for the
the
follow,
guy
and Ryan
who's
X.
responsible for thousands of those examples. That's how tone deaf or willingly ignorant these people are to what's going on around them. And also we have games to look forward to. Oh, like Intergalactic, that everyone's absolutely crapping on. Even Witcher 4, which actually has a
Okay, now it's ratioed. Remember when I talked before about how a 50-50 split was not a ratio? Now it's getting ratioed. 96K up to 246K down. Now we're into ratio territory for Intergalactic. We are.
chance of being a pretty good game. Even that's getting a lot of flack because of things going on behind the scenes, the words of their developers and people on their team that are attacking gamers, attacking the lore of the Witcher saga. It's a big mess. Even games that really are just a
maybe
ball
I'm
on a
just
tee
too nice for.
are getting
I don't.
messed with because
50-50
people
these days
in the
seems
studios,
normal.
they can't shut their mouth. But let's conclude this. Amid all of this is the specter of AI. There's still little insight on how much AI will continue to grow and how future games might use it, but it's a rising concern as rank and file workers are laid off. No one knows when or if the industry will bounce back with sustainable jobs and compensation. Yes, there will be games to play. It's harder to say how many people will be able to make them. Well, maybe trimming...
Wait. Is this journalist implying that the industry will bounce back with jobs and then devs that got laid off should get compensation for the being laid off? Is that what this guy is saying? And by the way, Galrab, thank you for the gifted. It sounds like this guy is saying that game developers who got laid off should get rehired back with compensation for getting laid off. Maybe I'm reading into this incorrectly, and I could be. But that's what it sounds like this journalist is saying. That these rank and file workers that got laid off should get hired back with compensation. That's not how economics work.
the fat's a good thing, and maybe people actually start to reflect on what 2024 was. It was a rejection of low quality slop. It was a rejection of virtue signaling, and it's trying to push the industry towards what gamers actually want. Fun
Yes, they made
and
a
appealing
shit
games.
game.
That's it.
That's
the
the
formula.
context.
It's really complicated, I know, but people in the industry who really know what they're doing, they understand this, and that's why they're still succeeding while everyone around them is flopping. But that's going to do it for this video. Again, Merry Christmas, everyone. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. As always, feel free to share your thoughts about today's topics in the comments section down below, and I'll see you guys next time.
Merry Christmas, Rev. Oh boy. Well, we went on a ride with that one, didn't we, Chad? Fucking hell. No dry type. We were talking about the games industry at large being a shit show.